Good morning, everyone. My name is Aldiv Maglinte,
And I am Sharonville V. Namias.
and we are here to discuss to you the types of feminism and the feminist theory. So, before we start to tackle the types of feminism and its theory, let me first discuss the word feminism. So, feminism is the belief that men and women have the equal rights in the society. And it is clearly stated that feminism had supported the equality of men and women in our society. So, feminist theory. Feminist theory is a major branch within sociology. It is a set of structural conflict approaches which views society as a conflict between men and women. There is the belief that women are oppressed and are disadvantaged by various social institutions. Feminist theory aims to highlight the social problems and issues that are experienced by women. Some of the key areas of focus include discrimination on the basis of sex and gender, objectification, economic inequality, power, gender role, and stereotypes. Feminists share a common goal in support of inequality for men and women. Although all feminists strive for gender inequality, there are various ways to approach this theory. Some of the general features of feminism include an awareness that there are inequalities between men and women based on the power and status. These inequalities can create conflict between men and women. Gender roles and inequalities are usually socially constructed. An awareness of the importance of patriarchy, a system of social structures and practices in which men dominate, oppress, and exploit women. So, feminist theory highlights and views that society as a conflict between men and women in terms of social institutions and capabilities of women to do so. It includes the equality in the workplace and even in other societal activities that men or women are equally treated.
The goals of feminism. The perspectives and experiences of women and girls have historically been excluded from social theory and social science. Thus, feminist theory aims to focus on the interactions and issues women face in society and culture, so half the population is not left out. Feminism in general means that the belief in the social, economic, and political equality of the sexes. The different branches of feminism may disagree on several things and have varying values. Despite this, there are usually basic principles that all feminists supports. 1. Increasing gender equality. Feminist theories recognize that women's experiences are not only different to men's but are unequal. Feminists will oppose laws and cultural norms that mean women earn a lower income and have less educational career and opportunities than men. Ending gender oppression. Gender oppression goes farther than gender inequality. Oppression means that not only women are different from or are equal to men, but they are actively subordinated, exploited, and even abused by them. Ending structural oppression. Feminist theories posit that gender inequality and oppression are the result of capitalism and patriarchy in which men dominate. Expanding human choice. Feminist believes that both men and women should have the freedom to express themselves and develop their interests even if this goes against cultural norms. Ending sexual violence. Feminists recognize that many women suffer sexual violence and that action should be taken to address this. Promoting sexual freedom. Having sexual freedom means that women have control over their own sexuality and reproduction. This can include ending the stigma on being promiscuous and ensuring that everyone has access to safe abortions.
So, the types of feminism. First is the liberal feminism. From the word itself, liberal or liberty, it is the state or condition of people who are able to act or speak freely. So, liberal feminism is rooted in classical liberal thought, and these feminists believe that equality should be brought about through education and policy changes. They see gender inequalities as rooted in attitudes of social and cultural institutions. So they aim to change the system from within. So liberal feminism agree that men and women should be treated equally in different aspects. Liberal feminists argue that women have the same capacity for moral reasoning and agency as men, but that the patriarchy has denied them the opportunity to practice this. Due to the patriarchy, these feminists believe that women have been pushed to remain in the privacy of their household and thus been excluded from participating in public life. Liberal feminists focused mainly on protecting equal opportunities for women through legislations. The Equal Rights amended in 1972 was impactful for liberal feminists, which enforced inequality on account of sex. The second type of feminism is the Marxist feminism. Marxist feminism is from ideas of Karl Marx, who claimed that capitalism was to blame for promoting patriarchy. So Marxist feminists claim that capitalism promotes the patriarchy of the dominance of men, meaning that the power is held in the hands of a smaller number of men. Marxist feminists believe that capitalism is the cause of women's oppression, and that this oppression in turn helps to reinforce capitalism. These feminists believe that women are exploited for their unpaid labor and maintaining the household and child care, and that capitalism reinforces that women are reserved for the workforce and they must create the next generation of workers. According to Marxist feminists, the system and traditional family can only be replaced by a socialist evolution that creates a government to meet the needs of the family.
The third type of feminism, radical feminism. From the word radical, it means being new or very different from traditional or ordinary. Radical feminists posit that power is key in gender oppression. They argue that being a woman is a positive thing but that this is not acknowledged in patriarchal society. The main belief of radical feminists is that equality can only be achieved through gender separation and political lesbianism. They think the patriarchy can be defeated if women recognize their own value and strength, establish trust with other women, and form female-based separatist network in the private and public spheres. Radical feminism is a perspective within feminism that calls for a radical reordering of society in which male supremacy is eliminated in all social and economic contexts. Intersectional feminism. Intersectional feminism believes that other feminist theories create an incorrect acceptance of women's oppression based on the experiences of mostly Western, middle class, and white women. For instance, while they may acknowledge that the work of suffragette movement was influential, the voting rights of working class or minority ethnic groups was forgotten at this time. Intersectionality considers that gender, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, and others are not separate, but are interwoven and can bring about different levels of oppression. This type of feminism offers insight that not all women experience oppression in the same way. For instance, the wage gap shows that women of color and men of color are penalized relative to the earnings of white men. Intersectional feminism means that it is a unique compound that involves both sexism and racism. It's so discriminative.
So, the waves of feminism. The history of modern feminism can be divided into four parts, which are termed waves. Each wave marks a specific cultural period in which specific feminist issues are brought to light. So it is said that feminist issues are given highlights and solutions. So first wave feminism. The first wave feminism is believed to have started with the women's suffrage movement. Or women's suffrage are the support to vote of women. Women's suffrage movement in New York in 1848 under the leadership of Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Those involved in this feminist movement were known as suffragettes or the voters. The main aim of this movement was to allow women to vote. So, first wave feminism focused on the support of women to vote for their equality in the workplace and even in the other economical and other societal factors. The second wave feminism. Second wave feminism started somewhere in the 1960s after the chaos of the World War. French author Simone de Beauvoir published a book in 1949 entitled The Second Sex, which outlined the definitions of womanhood and how women have historically been treated as second to men. She determined that one is not born but becomes a woman. Feminism during this period was focused on the social rules in women's work and family environment. It broadened the debate to include a wider range of issues such as sexuality, family, reproductive rights, legal inequalities, and divorce law. From this wave, movement towards women's rights, including the signing of the Equal Pay Act of 1963, which stipulated that women could no longer be paid less than men for comparable work. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 included a section which prevents employers from discriminating against employees on the basis of sex, race, religion, or national origin. Likewise, the famous Roe v. Wade decision protected a woman's right to have an abortion from 1973.
Third wave feminism. The third wave of feminism is harder to pinpoint, but it was thought to have taken off in the 1990s. Early activism in this wave involved fighting against workplace sexual harassment and working to increase the number of women in positions of power. The work of Kimberly Crenshaw in the 1980s is thought to have been the root of it. She coined the term intersectionality, which describes the ways in which systems of inequality based on gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, class, and other forms of discrimination intersect to create unique dynamics and effects. For example, black woman is impressed in two ways, for being a woman and for being black. Fourth wave feminism. Many believe that there is now a fourth wave of feminism which began around 2012. It is likely that the wave sparked after allegations of sexual abuse and harassment, specifically of celebrities, which gave birth to campaigns such as Everyday Sexism Project by Lara Bates and the #MeToo movement. With the rise of the internet and social platforms, feminist issues such as discrimination, harassment, body shaming, and misogyny can be widely discussed with the emergence of new feminists. Fourth wave feminism is digitally driven and has become more inclusive to include those of any sexual orientation, any ethnicity, and trans individuals.